Hello, everyone. I think it's
Hello,
time we're going to
Marie.
get started. My name is Marie Bliston, and I am the very proud chairwoman of the Cape May County Democratic Organization. We welcome all of you to this Zoom presentation on affordable housing. And as many of you have been on our previous Zoom presentations, you know that this is our third in a series on topics that we have found are very important to our residents here in Cape May County. We are recording this, so it will be available to you for further reference and as a resource as we move forward. We are extremely grateful to the expert panelists that we have with us tonight. And of course, we thank all of you for your interest in being on this Zoom with us. I'm next going to introduce, and very proudly, our chair of the leadership committee. This is the committee who has worked to put this Zoom presentation together. Mr. Harvey Roach has done quite a bit of research. He will continue to host this session for us. And I now am very happy to turn this over to Harvey Roach.
Thank you, Marie. Good evening. I'm Harvey Roach, your moderator for this evening. On behalf of Marie Bliston, chairperson of the Cape May County Regular Democratic Organization, and our County Democratic Leadership Committee, Lenora Bonafonte Kodatek, Charlie Lawrence, Mary Pat Myers, Marie Bliston, Kathy Gorman, Don Orrell, Liz Casey, Chris Gillen Schwartz, Ken Merson, and Bill Causey. Welcome to our Zoom presentation on affordable housing in Cape May County. What exactly does affordable housing mean? Affordable housing means housing whose price or rents can be met by certain income levels in specific households. For our purpose this evening, we will focus on moderate income households and low income households. Cape May County is defined as part of Region 6 of New Jersey, including Atlantic, Cumberland, and Salem counties, for the purpose of setting affordable housing regional income limits by household size. This slide shows a household of 4 with the median income of $95,854. Median income households, 50% to 80% of that amount, would be $47,927 to $76,683 per year. Low-income households below 50% of the median income are $47,927 a year. These income levels may seem unrealistic for Cape May County and its seasonal economy. That aggravates the housing situation. How did we get to affordable housing? The Southern Burlington NAACP sued Mount Laurel Township, resulting in a 1975 New Jersey Supreme Court decision known as the Mount Laurel decision. Among other advances, Mount Laurel outlawed exclusionary zoning, required New Jersey municipalities to provide their fair share of their region's affordable housing, and created enforcement mechanisms to safeguard the public interest. The Fair Share Housing Center, or FSHC, and later the Council on Affordable Housing, COA, created by the legislature, were designed to protect the public interest. The agencies have met mixed reviews. In fact, COA is being replaced by legislation we will touch on in a moment. The 1975 decision also required New Jersey municipalities to provide their fair share of their region's affordable housing. Over the past month, the Leadership Committee reached out to each of the 16 municipalities that make up Cape May County, asking for their number of affordable housing units. Here are the results according to the municipalities. Avalon, 0. Cape May City, 204 units, including Victorian Towers. Cape May Point, 0. Dennis Township, 0. Lower Township did not respond. Middle Township, 134 units. North Wildwood, 105 units. Ocean City, 42 units, with 109 units on the drawing board. Stone Harbor did not respond. Sea Isle City, 0. Upper Township did not respond. West Cape May, 0. West Wildwood, 306 units. Wildwood, 0. Wildwood Crest, 0. And Woodbine did not respond. A total of 791 units. We're in need of more affordable housing units. This is something that you hear in all conversations about home ownership. My kids can't afford to buy a house where they grew up. The cost and the shortage of affordable housing units impacts not only those who grew up here looking to purchase or rent a home, but our veteran population, those with disabilities or special needs, our senior population who may want to downsize and remain in the community, but not necessarily in a 55 plus or assisted living environment, and often overlooked, but crucial to our economy, many people who make up the workforce in Cape May County cannot afford to live here. There is an effort underway in the legislature to improve the affordable housing program in New Jersey. Senate Bill S-50, under the sponsorship of Senator Troy Singleton and Assemblywoman Yvonne Lopez, Democratic Deputy Speaker of the Assembly, would replace the Council on Affordable Housing. The legislation is designed to increase the number of houses people of low and moderate income can afford. Senator Singleton says the state needs some 200,000 additional housing units. Remember, we could only identify 791 completed units here in Cape May County. This quote from Senator Singleton sums up what this new push, a reboot of a legislative initiative, has as its goal. To me, the heart of the quotation is found at the end. Everyone, no matter where they live, no matter where they come from, can find a home here in the state of New Jersey. There are other pieces of legislation that are moving and show progress for affordable housing in New Jersey. Common sense ideas designed to benefit those citizens who are in need. S-1430 allows for a reallocation of some state rental assistance funds to cover home ownership expenses. S-1446, the expansion of eligibility for the state's down payment loan assistance program and allows for the increase of the limit to $20,000. And S-1484, providing sales tax exemptions for materials, supplies, and services for building and repairing of 100% affordable housing projects. In addition to a shortage of housing and a struggle for so many households to make ends meet, the homeless problem in Cape May County has virtually exploded over the past few years. The homeless problem is due in part to an economic downturn, global pandemic, worsening seasonal economy that is unique to the Jersey Shore, and an increase in homeless veterans. All these factors have combined to strain both the official infrastructure in a county with no overnight homeless shelter, as well as the nonprofit infrastructure that works diligently daily to assist the growing, often misunderstood segment of our population. There are counties in our region that work in partnership with HUD and municipal governments to construct housing with a countywide commitment of ending homelessness. It is an ongoing project, to be sure. In a no less conservative location than Austin, Texas, a public-private partnership has created Community First Village, a grouping of over 400 previously homeless persons living in individual 200 square foot tiny homes in a park-like community that was formerly public property. Once the individual is moved in, a support network already in place sets to work on substance dependency issues, mental health challenges, or any other issues. There is a pride of residency there, and the goal is to get the individual housed, then address the issues. Anyone violating the behavior policies is removed from the program. It is seen as a success and studied by other communities around the country. Meanwhile, in Cape May County, we are a part of the Southern New Jersey continuum of care, along with Camden, Gloucester, and Cumberland counties. Funds for this program come from the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. According to a Cape May County official I spoke with last month, the county is restricted by HUD to using these funds for housing vouchers only. I was unable to contact anyone at the HUD field office in Newark, New Jersey regarding this program or the Southern New Jersey continuum of care. A county spokesman has indicated in an Atlantic City Press article dated December 30th, 2023, that the homeless population in Cape May County would be assisted if they were willing to accept help. That means a drug-free individual. Otherwise, the county will not issue a voucher. While this regulation is understandable, it begs the question, what steps can be taken to reach out to those who are substance dependent and homeless? Middle Township has legislated tents in the woods to be illegal. Public health is one reason cited. The desire to bring the homeless population in the Rio Grande section of the township under more control was an obvious reason. Citizen complaints were up, but tents remain in the woods, maybe to a lesser degree. We don't really know. What we do know is that the need for more affordable housing and action to help the homeless in Cape May County are interlocking and growing problems. We thank you all for being here tonight. Our presenters this evening are former New Jersey State Senator Steve Sweeney, former State Senate President. During his 20-year career in that body, Senator Sweeney championed legislation that not only advanced affordable housing goals, but protected citizens with special needs in the housing market. Jacqueline Jones, who is the Executive Director of the Vineland Housing Authority, and through shared services agreements, serves in the same capacity in Bridgeton, Ocean City, and the city of Cape May. Ms. Jones has over 40 years' experience in the field and a wealth of knowledge on local housing laws and how things are done. Yvonne Sullivan is the Executive Director of Family Promise, Cape May County. This nonprofit works to find shelter for homeless families with children, a segment of our population that is certainly in need of affordable housing. With Ms. Sullivan is Tyler Keene, Executive Director of the Branches Outreach, a nonprofit dedicated to the relief of the poor, distressed, and underprivileged located in Rio Grande. The Branches Outreach is definitely in the middle of the issue geographically. One last word. Questions for our presenters should be done through the Q&A section. They will be presented by the moderator, time permitting, when the presentations are complete. Our presenters this evening will be heard in the following order: Senator Sweeney, Director Jones, Director Sullivan, and Director Keene. Senator Sweeney, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you for including me on what I think is a very, very important subject. And unfortunately, this has been going on for 50 years, if not longer, in New Jersey when it comes to affordable housing. And the demand and the need for affordable housing for the disabled, for seniors, for homeless veterans is immense, along with families that just don't have the income. You know, back when I was growing up, you would dedicate 25, maybe 30% of your income for housing. Now that has far exceeded the cost. You know, it's way beyond 25 or 30% now. So housing is really coming out of the reach throughout the state. And the frustration is reading that, Harvey, seeing the numbers that you presented on all the towns. That's the denial that we keep having, that we don't have a need for affordable housing. That's the number one step we have to get beyond, is the denial that affordable housing is needed. There's been some great programs for homeless people. One of them I can recall is the Camden Housing Initiative with Dr. Jeffrey Brenner. This program actually wound up going national, where they took people that were homeless, found them housing, got them wraparound services, and got people to a position where they could re-enter, our world and be productive citizens again. You know, they're human lives. Any one of us could wind up in that situation. So you have to realize, why not me? How come I was lucky not to wind up there? Why was that person? But they're humans and they have to be treated with respect and dignity. So, the frustration is, one, getting governments to accept that they have to recognize that we need more affordable housing. Another stat I can tell you, and I know Marie is very well aware of this, is New Jersey is the most segregated school system in the nation, because our kids go to schools by zip code. New Jersey is the most diverse state in the nation, should not be the most segregated, school system in the nation. So breaking down the barriers and getting people to start to listen and work together is critically important. This is always a thorny issue. In the legislature, there's huge battles that come with this, but we all should get together and try to find a solution, because somebody that's desiring affordable housing is no different than you or I. That I'm just lucky I had a better job, I guess. But affordable housing should be quality housing. It should be safe housing. It should be clean water. It should be no mold, no lead paints that we deal with in a lot of parts of the state of New Jersey. So having this discussion on how we can find solutions is critically important. But I just wish people would recognize affordable housing is not an ugly word. It's not like there goes the neighborhood. It's just people that aren't as fortunate as others that want to have their kids go to good school systems. They want to move forward and live in quality neighborhoods. But again, you see the push. They were close to getting something. Senator Singleton's bill was close to getting passed at the end of lame duck, but it broke down again. You know what I mean? Because we always let the perfect get in the way of the good. And we really need to start compromising further so we can make more progress. While I was the Senate president, we passed a bunch of bills that we couldn't get the administration to sign. So we wound up in the court system, which nobody wants to be at. Everyone says, oh my God, we're in the courts. Well, we're in the courts for one reason. We all keep fighting rather than finding solutions. So, I'll cut off at that because I know there's other speakers and I'll be glad to talk further.
Could you tell us a little bit about the special services?
Oh yeah, I'm so proud of this. We created on the campus of Rowan College, we created 26 or 28 affordable independent living apartments for people with disabilities. So we're creating an environment where, number one, we're getting people with disabilities employment. We're teaching people, helping people, like adults age out at 21, a special education. Well, we have a college for special needs where they get life skill, job skill training. We have healthcare for them at Rowan Medicine. And now we have jobs, and now we have housing. So look, it took 12 years to get the housing finally approved, through our housing authority and HUD, but we got it done. And now we have a roadmap on to expand housing, because again, everyone has this image of what affordable housing is. Affordable housing is people that don't have it that need it. So we did something really special that I'm hoping is recreated around the state, because as a parent with a child with a disability, well, an adult with a disability, she would yell at me right now. There's 8,000 people on a waiting list for housing. We need to create housing in every single county to deal with the population that lives within the county, so the families can support the individual that's in the housing. You know, Harvey, that was something I was trying to do before I left, and it's something I'm going to hang on to because I want to accomplish. I want to make sure that there's housing in communities where we live, where parents live, where their loved ones can live independently. So it's something that we were able to do. We just broke ground on it. And again, I want to see it replicated around the state, just like we did with our ACT program, which was adult continuing transition, where people, when they age out of school, they continue on so they get the job skills and the life skills so they can live independently and have meaningful employment.
That's great. Thank you very much.
Harvey, one other thing real quick. We did a bill called workability. Workability was people with disabilities were discriminated against if they made too much money. They would take benefits away from you. Every single community, we incentivize. You know, we'll give you training. We'll get you transportation. We'll help you with everything. Well, the disabled community, 75% unemployed. And if you got a job and you made too much money, they would take your benefits away from you. It was asinine. So we were actually able to change at the end of my term and pass a bill called workability so people with disabilities can not have a cap on their income. My daughter worked at a daycare center. When she hit a certain level, she had to work. Well, she actually worked the same amount of hours. She just didn't get paid. She had to volunteer her time. So, you know, there's big issues around this, but I'm excited about what we were able to accomplish.
There is a lot of work left to be done. Appreciate your efforts and the fact that you're sticking with it. That's a wonderful, wonderful thing. Thank you very much, Senator. Thank you. Director Jones?
Yes. Good evening, everybody. I'm going to share my screen, Harvey, if let me see if it'll allow me to do that.
Sure.
So I need you to give me permission, Harvey, to host to be able to host to share the screen. So if you can make me the host, that might work. Let's see.
We're working on that right now.
Okay. So while you're doing that, I just want to thank Harvey for inviting me to this very important Zoom meeting and this very important topic. As he mentioned in the intro, I've been in this business for 40 years. I am a Gloucester County girl, born and raised, and I am the executive director of the Vineland Housing Authority, and as Harvey mentioned, through shared services agreement, also the executive director. One correction, not the Bridgeton Housing Authority, the Buena Housing Authority, Ocean City Housing Authority, and the Cape May Housing Authority. So let me see if I can share. Okay, here we go. So my my goal here today, and let me see if I can, I'm having a hard time finding my spot here, is to give an overview of the different types of housing that are available. There's a lot of different types of housing, and I thought that this would be, it's sort of like affordable housing 101, right? So I wanted to start by talking about the different types, or a definition of affordable housing, which Harvey already went over, but I'll go over that real briefly again. Who qualifies for affordable housing? What are the income limits, which Harvey did touch on, and common types of affordable housing, because sometimes there are stigmas to certain types of housing, as was mentioned earlier, but these are families that, as Senator Sweeney mentioned, that maybe this didn't have the opportunities that maybe we had, and they're just in a different situation. Doesn't mean they're bad people, just means that they have different jobs and different incomes. As Harvey mentioned, the definition of affordable housing, according to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, is if you are paying no more than 30% of your income towards your rent and utilities, that's considered affordable. This is a problem in New Jersey, and frankly, it's a problem all over the country. We have a nationwide housing crisis right now. So who qualifies for affordable housing? I have a couple different slides to talk about this. First thing I wanted to mention was most of the programs that I'm going to reference in the next few slides are really managed by a government or nonprofit source. Okay. I work for a housing authority. I also have some nonprofits that we've formed to develop other affordable housing. So a lot of times that goes hand in hand. Also, when we talk about who qualifies for affordable housing and income limits, these income limits are based on our area, right? Where you live. So in New Jersey, there's several different income limits depending on if it's North Jersey, Central Jersey, South Jersey. They change every year. They don't change a lot. They just change slightly. But this is what is used to determine who is eligible for certain types of housing. And what I'm talking about here is family housing for families, seniors, persons with disabilities, could be veterans. There's all kinds of different special housing programs out there as well. So here's our income limits for Cape May County. So this is Region 6, Harvey referenced that. This chart goes all the way up to say 6 people and beyond, but I limited it to 4 people so that we could sort of maybe get a grasp on what it really means, what it really means as far as affordable housing is for who in the area. So median income, right? That first line there under the number of people in the household, the median income is the middle range of income in the county. And so from that is how they determine what moderate, low, and very low income are. So for example, one person, and I'm going to use, let's use the moderate right here. If one person in the household and their income is say $53,678, quick math is that their rent would be at an affordable rate, $1,342. Low income be $838 a month, and then very low, $503. There is also a category known as extremely low, and extremely low is what we see in public housing. That is what I will call is a deep subsidy. And a lot of the programs for the federal government, Department of Housing and Urban Development, are geared towards the very low, the extremely low, very low, and low. Sometimes we don't even get to the moderate level in public housing. Okay, so I am going to limit my presentation to these types of affordable housing. Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher Program, Section 8 Project-Based Rental Assistance, Public Housing, Tax Credit Properties, State Affordable Housing, and Special Needs or Age. So I'm going to talk about each one of these very briefly in the next few slides. So the first one is Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher Program. This is the one where everybody might have well, not everybody, but you might have an idea of what this is, and it does sometimes has it's not known as known as good housing, right? But it's just housing that is it relates to a voucher. So a resident receives a voucher and they go out and find a home, an apartment, where the landlord will accept the voucher for the amount of the voucher is valued at. And the resident will pay 30% of their income towards the rent. And then the government, usually it's a housing authority, will pay the other 70% to the landlord. So it's a relationship between the housing agency, the resident, and the landlord. And the landlord has to keep the house, apartment, et cetera, in certain conditions. It's inspected at least once a year. So there are requirements with this. When the bottom bullet says the voucher recipients are able to live where they choose, and that's true to a certain degree. The landlord has to accept what's called the fair market rent, right? It can't, if the landlord wants too much for a unit, then we couldn't subsidize it. And the other thing I want to mention about this program, the Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher Program, been around a long, long time. The voucher is tied to the resident. That's the last line on there. So it's mobile. So the idea with these vouchers was that a resident, a tenant could travel, could move anywhere to be closer to, say, employment or family or whatever. The issue here is there's only a certain number of these vouchers, and almost every waiting list is closed. So in New Jersey, there are housing authorities that have public housing, but not Section 8, right? Not every housing authority has Section 8. The state of New Jersey has a housing authority at the DCA. They have many, many vouchers. Their vouchers go all over the state. They can go anywhere. With regional, city, county, town housing authorities, their vouchers stay within their jurisdiction, which is most likely their town or county. Next, this is it's called Section 8 Project-Based Rental Assistance. And the pictures that I'm showing you are all from Cape May County. And the picture here is an actual Section 8 project-based rental assistance building that I was involved with, but we built this about 3 years ago. And this is the difference between this and the Section 8 voucher program that we talked about previously, which is tenant-based. This is project-based or building-based. So the vouchers are attached to this building. And so there is a contract between the federal government, HUD, and the housing authority to pay a certain amount for each unit in this building for an extended period of time, 30 years, and then the contract will renew. And the reason this works for a housing authority is that we can build these buildings, we can rehab buildings by taking that, using that contract, a promise to pay these rents to a bank or lending institution and rehabilitate or build new buildings. Okay. The next one I have here is public housing. So, as I mentioned before, public housing, housing authorities own public housing. They may not have Section 8, but they just might have public housing. And this is 2 examples in Cape May County of public housing. These are federally funded, but the issue here is the last bullet that I put down here is this the development of public housing stopped in the 1980s. It was the change of an administration in Washington, and it just stopped. Now, the newer type of development is with tax credits. So this came into play, I think, in 1987. And this is a federal program. And the federal government allocates these tax credits to states. And states allocate the tax credits based on their qualified allocation plan. Now, this is a very complicated type of development, but it works. I'm not going to get into the weeds about it, but what I'll say is that you have a developer who most likely puts up the money and backs the program, buys the the low-income housing tax credits, and so they will put money into the building, into the build, and subsidizes the build. So the building is paid for almost, sometimes not always, upfront, which keeps the rents low. And then as the investor, an investor who buys these tax credits, contributes to them, they get a tax credit off of their bill, their tax bill, for about 15 years. So it's a very rudimentary way of me explaining it, but this is how you get the private-public partnership working. This is a tax credit property right in Cape May, on the border of Cape May and the Villas. This is a senior development. Not very old, just a few years old. Again, this is another slide talking about tax credits. This is another family complex in Cape May County. That is a tax credit build. I think that one's like less than 5 years old as well. And so I guess the point I want to make about tax credits is that every deal is different, right? So the income levels for each unit is determined, and you have to stick with that income level for each particular unit. So there might be a certain number of low, a certain number of moderate, and the rent for that unit stays with that unit, that particular unit. So when someone moves out of moderate income in that unit, you have to fill it with someone of moderate income again. And that's the contract that goes on for years. And this is monitored by an agency under the DCA called the New Jersey Housing Mortgage Housing Finance Agency, NJHMFA. Heavily monitored. So I have a little statistic here about the tax credit properties that were built from 1987 to 2020. There were 3.44 million affordable housing units provided through this program from 1987 to 2020. So I have 3 slides on that, probably because I'm thinking what I'm going to say to you is this is where a lot of the newer housing has come from over the last, since 1987. Last but not least, Harvey mentioned this in his presentation, and he did a really good job with that. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, other than the fact that, yes, this is New Jersey state affordable housing, basically, right? And it was based on the Mount Laurel Doctrine, and this is why towns are required to they have to be evaluated to determine what their fair share is. Because they're evaluated doesn't mean they will have an obligation. That's all done by the Fair Share Housing Center group. They have some sort of formula, which I'm really not familiar with, but they fight for low-income housing like nobody's business, and they are out there trying to get towns to comply. I want to make another point that these units that you're looking at right now, these are brand new, built under the state affordable housing program. And there are 10 of these units, over and unders, 2 and 3 bedroom for low and moderate income families. And 2 of the units are handicap accessible with lifts. Actually, every unit is handicap accessible, but 2 of the units have lifts or elevators in them. So I'm going to just take a couple of minutes here just to wrap up, and just by saying that, again, affordable housing is considered paying 30% or less of your gross income on your rent and your utilities. Eligibility is based on the median income, the median household income in the area, and there's percentages of that. That's how they determine it. And we talked about the most common types of housing choice voucher, right? That floats with the tenant. The tenant can take that voucher with them. Section 8 project-based rental assistance is with the building and the project. There are a lot of these projects around the country, Section 8 project-based rental assistance programs. These are contracts that private landlords have had with HUD for years. We talked about public housing, tax credit properties, and state affordable housing. We didn't talk about a lot of other housing that is out there, but there is a lot of supportive housing out there, but not enough. There's never enough. And I'm just going to show you my last screen where all these properties are from Cape May County. And I'll just wrap it up by saying that the issue with some of the public housing is that it needs to be revitalized. It needs to be redeveloped. And so there is a new form of funding that some housing authorities are using to convert their properties from a operating type subsidy to a rental assistance demonstration is what it's called, which is basically a project-based voucher situation. Again, housing authorities can then use that contract to work with a bank or a funding institution to rehabilitate their properties. So that's the good news for public housing. There is some things that we can do now to revitalize those because the money from the federal government doesn't exist for fixing public housing the way that it needs to be fixed. So with that, I will take a pause, and Harvey, if you have any questions you would like to ask me or anything I didn't cover.
No, I think that you've covered it very well. Some of the projects are dated. I noticed Sandman Towers in Wildwood, where I spent a quarter of a century working. It looks a lot better than it did a few years ago. It's been revitalized. That's good. The new projects look a lot better than what we've always thought that public housing looked like. So that's a good thing. And to have lifts in these units for handicapped folks is a real step forward. So it's good to know that they're taking steps like this to make life easier for people that have these challenges too. So that's a good thing. Do you have any information about Habitat for Humanity? Does that fit in any of these instances? Do they get involved with any of this at all?
Well, I can speak to that. Actually, I was on the board for Habitat for Humanity for about 10, 12 years in Cumberland County. And Habitat is, the organization really has to raise their own money, right? They have to raise their own money to be able to build their homes. Sometimes there's money available from the town or county that the organization belongs to. But what they focus on is families that are earning 80% or less of area median income. And the struggle there is to find a family that fits that income category that can afford the mortgage and the taxes and the insurance in whatever town you're building in. So we had some struggles with that. And the other problem is you're building these houses with a lot of volunteer work. And sometimes it's just not a quick process. So they don't churn as many units as you would hope.
I see. We have one other question. Have increasing real estate values disincentivized builders from building some of these projects that you've talked about, the affordable housing projects?
I think it's got more to do with having the land, having a piece of land to build on, and then being able to partner with a nonprofit or a housing authority. The issue with tax credits is that there are 9% tax credits and 4% tax credits. The 9% where you get more money are competitive. And when I say they're competitive, you have to be able to check certain boxes so that your project gets the tax credit over someone else's project, right? So one of the big things is somebody gave you the land, If somebody gives you the land, you're right away, you are on your way to possibly getting those tax credits because you're already ahead of the game. So sometimes that's why it's good to partner with a housing authority or a nonprofit, because they already have the land and they're not looking to make a lot of money. Developers want to make money. So yes, sometimes that can be not an incentive for these types of projects.
All right, well, thank you very much, Jackie. Appreciate that. Appreciate your input. Next, we have Director Yvonne Sullivan and Director Tyler Keene. The floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. How are you? Thank you for inviting me onto this call. This is a very important subject, especially for nonprofits in the area. So affordable housing in Cape May County is pretty much non-existent for our young people. You know, the people that are going to school down here, graduating to college, and can't afford to stay, like you said earlier. They're taking their education and they're leaving to go live in other counties. And I think it's sad. It's very sad. So right now we have 13 affordable housing properties in Cape May County. 6 of them are specifically for seniors. 1 is for mental health or disability, and the other 6 are for low moderate income. But the problem is that the wait lists are 3 to 5 years long. There's nowhere for anybody to go. Even the people we have experienced in the past, because we do assist our people with acquiring rentals or properties of their own. So we do a lot of prevention, or, we assist them with pretty much anything they need. We've had people placed in a lower moderate income unit, and then they get kicked out because somebody made a little bit of extra overtime and they went over the income limit, and then they become homeless again. The fact that the state does not allow these people that have a home to supplement, meaning like if they make more money, they can pay a little bit more money. They won't allow that. They kick them out. So that's a big problem. So I just I want to can I share my screen with you, please? Okay.
You have that ability. Go right ahead.
Okay. So I just wanted to share this video of what we do at Family Promise, so that everybody gets an idea. And this is what not having enough affordable housing in Cape May County is causing. Can everyone see that?
Have you shared?
Yes. Can you see it?
No.
Oh, I apologize. Hold on a minute. Give me 1 second.
think so.
All right, we're gonna have to skip the video, I guess. I can't find the share button.
It should be a green button on the bottom of your screen in your menu. Next to chat.
Mm,
I see.
I have security, participants, chat, record. Show captions. Yeah, I'm not seeing that.
Okay.
Mm,
It's okay. I say move on. If you can send me the video, I can show it later. Or we can add it to the slide afterwards.
Yvonne, did you hear him?
yes, there you go. Okay, I'm back.
Okay.
All right, so I will, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to share the video with anybody just because it's such a large, it's too large for me to send through email or anything like that. So I apologize, I don't have a share button. But anyway, we at Family Promise, we help families with children that are homeless. We do a lot of, let's do this. Yeah. We do a lot of community. We have a lot of community volunteers. We have hundreds of volunteer hours every week. So we have volunteers from the churches. We have volunteers at the thrift shop. We own a thrift shop that that supports our program. We also have our board and committees volunteers, and we also have a day center. So the way that our program works is a family who becomes homeless, and they must have children to come into our program. They are drug screened and they have to work. They come into our program and we provide shelter for them. Normally it's a 90-day stay, but because of the prices out there for rentals, the 90-day stays are currently being extended because they can't afford it. Currently in the state of New Jersey, we are number 7. New Jersey is 7th highest in housing wage, meaning that in order for someone to be able to afford a 2-bedroom apartment, they have to make a minimum of at least $33.50 an hour. And that requires 95 hours needed at work. So that's over 2 full-time people that need to work. One of them will have to work 2 jobs in order to afford a 2-bedroom house in Cape May County. So that's the problem that we're seeing. Of course, the influx of Airbnbs doesn't help. Landlords are not renting. They just want to do the Airbnb for the season and not have to deal with people year round. I did go to Cape May County Chamber of Commerce meeting this past month, and there was a economic development professor from Stockton University who had some interesting statistics up. So pre-COVID, we had a little under 400 Airbnbs in Cape May County. Now we have close to 800. So there's no place for our guests to rent. We are trying to get landlords on board that are able to keep their properties affordable. Of course, with the prices the houses are selling for, anybody that has bought recently can't afford, they have to pay their mortgage, they have to, you know, pay the taxes, they have homeowners insurance, and you know, those people are not able. But we like to work with landlords who are able to keep it affordable. Normally, they are homeowners that have already have their house paid off, and they collaborate with us to try and find housing for our families. So we do a lot of other things, mainly case management. We provide safe shelter. We provide education. So if somebody wants to go back to school or get a certification, even the children, we have placed several children with the Hershey Milton School. We collaborate with them. We help them with their finances, so credit counseling. We try and do housing counseling. We find them jobs, employment. We provide transportation. Any household needs they need, whether it be Pampers or furnishings, clothes. All of our guests are able to go to our thrift store to pick out whatever it is that they need. Parenting, so we have a lot of people that come through our program that are provided counseling. We get them connected with social services as far as healthcare is concerned, childcare, things like that. And the big part of what we do at Family Promise is the aftercare, and we call it keeping the promise. So a lot of times, a family, like the one I described to you earlier, will become homeless again, or maybe they're going through a hard time and can't pay their rent. Family Promise will jump in and help them. It's part of our prevention program. So we help them not become homeless again. And we follow our families. They come every year. We do holiday givings, and a lot of them just keep in touch with us. But, you know, we have to move in a different direction now because we can't find places to rent for our guests. So we are moving in a different direction with trying to provide credit and housing counseling, and possibly helping our clients apply for USDA loans, which will allow them to become affordable homeowners, obtain affordable housing through home ownership. So that's pretty much what we do. We have helped 2 clients obtain Habitat homes, and we just do whatever we can to get them back to where they need to be.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We're going to put your contact information up on our site, but can you give us your website right now?
Sure. You can follow us on familypromisecmc.org. And we also have a Facebook and Instagram if you just type in Family Promise of Cape May County.
Okay.
And our thrift shop is located at 3156 Route 9 South in Rio Grande. That's right across the street from Walmart, right next to where the old 7 Mile Brewery was.
Okay.
So that's how you can help support us. We're also looking for landlords that would collaborate with us and pledge to be partners. So if anybody knows of anybody that is looking for all of our guests are pre-screened. Like I said, they have jobs and they are drug tested. So a lot of landlords like to work with us because they're good family, good people just going through hard times.
Great. Thank you very much, Yvonne.
You're welcome.
Tyler Keene?
Hi, thank you so much for having us. And let me tell you one quick story. So we just recently met a Family Promise, or I rather recently met a Family Promise family that used to be guests of the branches. And then they transitioned over to Family Promise through Kathleen. and they are thriving right now. These resources that were available to them through your program has changed so many trajectories. And I'm just so grateful, for your partnership. They have thriving kids right now, and she now went back to school and is a peer recovery specialist, helping the same people that her peers formerly. So this program does amazing work, and I'm just so grateful to be your partner.
Thank you, Tyler.
So I'm going to give you just a quick overview of the branches for those who don't know, and then we'll talk about just quickly some of the issues that we're facing. So the branch's outreach is a grassroots 501c3 nonprofit, providing social services and programs for vulnerable individuals in Cape May County with dignity and respect. So basically, we're bifold. We are trying to take care of your immediate needs, and then we're trying to take care of how can we continue to progress your current situation to make sure that you get the resources you need. So we're open Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m., where we serve breakfast and lunch, and Saturdays from 10 to 12. During Code Blue, our hours are extended. So the warming center, we partner with the warming center. So the bus to go there picks up from the branches and then drops back off at 6 a.m., where we extend our hours. So we have personal care supplies. Guests have access to showers, clothing, toothbrush, toothpaste, all of that stuff. And then also we have our food pantry, which is across the street, where we serve hundreds of families in our community. We are open Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. We have a mobile grocery delivery program as well. That serves area motels, where we focus specifically on the motels which have the highest amount of families being housed there. And then we also serve places like sober living facilities. We have an advocate program. So this is one of the things that I am most proud of. It's basically, the advocates are the primary care doctors for social services in the county. So they just help connect guests and make sure that one of the biggest things is I want to make sure that your short-term crisis does not turn into a whole life trajectory change. We do not always succeed, but we do everything we can through places like Cape Hope, the Recovery Center. There's so many of us that are trying to work together every day in an incredibly under-resourced county. So all of the partners that we have in our area, we are so grateful for. And those advocates really help when you typically, there's a lot of people who are first time experiencing homelessness. So they come in and we try to help navigate them. So, one of the big things is a challenge right now is that when you have no overnight homeless shelter, no affordable housing, no adequate transitional housing, people who would be experiencing otherwise general poverty somewhere else are in crisis here. I mean, there is no safety net to fall back on to make sure that, it's just a short-term. It's hard when you're first homeless and there is no place to go. And that short-term experience of crisis, extends in Cape May County into chronic homelessness very easily. And so that's what we are trying to course correct every single day. So, there's a lot of misconceptions about us in the county. They're basically saying that we are attracting people from other states. We are attracting people from all over other counties, and it's just simply not true. We have gone through every data point imaginable. 82.9% of the guests we serve are hyperlocal within a 10-mile radius of the branches. These are our neighbors who are suffering. We've recently just collected all of our yearly data. So 84.2% are New Jersey residents, 9.7% are non-New Jersey, 6.1% we just can't confirm because they have some type of other ID and we want hyper-specific data points. So 85.6% are the Cape May County residents, and once again, 82.9% are hyperlocal. We served over 10,969 meals this past year. We had over 879 advocate intakes. We have done so much emergency funding for long-term housing, recovery housing, like Stop the Heroin homes, eviction prevention, and then mostly it's emergency motel stays for people experiencing homelessness. 80% of the people we serve are your everyday neighbors who fell on hard times that we can more easily progress through our resource network. It's really those 20% of the chronic homeless cases that get the most attention, but A, they still deserve dignity. And B, if you don't provide that stability of resources year after year, there is no hope for progression. You know, sometimes it's year 3 after multiple attempts at going to a rehab facility or a mental health facility that things finally work out. And so that's one of the things that we want to do is, you know, be that stable force. And we want to continue to not take the bait on a lot of things, a lot of misinformation about people experiencing homelessness in our county. We want to be completely data specific because I came from a national nonprofit. We had over 300 locations for children experiencing crisis. When I moved back here home, I thought I was going to coast. I had no idea that this was going to be the most difficult job I have ever had in my entire life. The most difficult social service network I have ever come in contact with. So, you know, people like Sandra and Terry, who helped start the branches and have been here for over 16 years. People like Denise, they have been some of the only people, I mean, really at the forefront of trying to change the trajectory of people experiencing homelessness and crisis in our county. And you know, I'm sure Denise can attest, we need help. You know, we're drowning. And this is, at my last job, I had so many resources available. Even JFS, we have a lot of MOUs right now with places like Jewish Family Services, Ascenda, the Recovery Center, to try to be that one-stop shop for people to have resources. But we don't have, even with Jewish Family Services, the same programs they have in other places. Guardianship programs, 302 programs. There, you know, in other areas, they have so much more ability to help progress people. And so, you know, that's one of the things that's going on right now is there's so many thoughts about the homeless population and about, you know, even so we have just recently someone came in, had been working for 20 years. And just like one of the former speakers said, you know, anyone can be experiencing this, especially in a county as expensive as ours. This one individual worked for 20 years, fell on hard times, had a bad health experience, and is a first time experiencing homelessness, and was recently telling us at a Code Blue, I used to be that same person who would say, those people this, those people that, all of these tropes and stigmas. And now that he's on the other side of this, unfortunately, you know, he's realizing it. And this happens all the time. There are seniors. We had a 90-year-old, I see Sandra nodding her head. We had a 90-year-old couple experiencing homeless for the first time. And it is so incredibly heartbreaking, living in their car. And so I just want to end, one really difficult thing is, so basically, Middle Township specifically is using what I believe they're using. It's a Boise, Idaho statute from 2018 that basically says, if you offer reasonable accommodation, then you can arrest for people experiencing homelessness. The reasonable accommodation they are offering is Camden and Atlantic City, and that does not even come to fruition most time. And they're using Volunteers of America, who the 3 VOA workers on the ground here are amazing. They are our best tried and true partners. However, they are basically saying that 9 out of 10 times people experiencing homelessness in our county turn down housing. That is untrue. That is just simply false. They turn down housing that they know is not going to be reasonable in Camden. You can't just ship people experiencing poverty and homelessness out of the county the second they come up. And they also have basically been telling us that there is no legal place to sleep in Cape May County. But then when we ask, well, then it's illegal to be homeless here, they say, no, absolutely not. But if there's no legal place to sleep and they can't provide anywhere anywhere for our guests to go and continue to move them all throughout the night and cite. One person specifically was cited 6 times in one day, and he's living in a dumpster. Living in a dumpster, done everything that we have asked him to do, gone to all of the meetings, all of the programs. He has severe intellectual disabilities. He has had a voucher through Jewish Family Services for almost 2 years, and they have not been able to provide affordable housing. So basically, we are in need of all the help and support that we could possibly get. We are in need of our community understanding the problems here, and that people experiencing homelessness in our county have no real likelihood for progression like in some other places. Yet we're still trying to do it every single day. There is a lot of positive cases, but our childhood food insecurity is over Camden counties now. We're over 17%, and that is abysmal. We have over 3,000 kids that are food insecure in our county. And so we're just trying to get people to understand that, you know, Cape May County is so much more than the Cape Mays and the Avalons. There are so many people experiencing crisis here, and it's going to take a village to help lift people up together. And that's why I'm so grateful to the Cape Hopes, to the Family Promises, the CARES, because we really are all in this together. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Tyler. Could you take a minute and just give us the contact information for your organization? We are going to post your information on our site along with Yvonne's, but just give us your contact information.
Absolutely. So you can email us at info@thebranchesoutreach.org. I'll put it in the chat. And you can visit us at thebranchesoutreach.org. And anything you need, if you see anyone experiencing homelessness, please reach out to us, and we will try to help them progress.
Right. And for everyone listening, we're going to put their information on our site at www.cmcdems.com. So that will be on our site, the outreach information for these two organizations. And it's certainly worthwhile to reach out to them to do what you can to help them in their very worthwhile mission. We do have time for a couple of questions, and I wanted to get to those. They're kind of technical questions. One is for Jackie. Jackie, are you still with us?
Yes, I am.
Okay. You may be able to take this. Do we need more low-income tax credits to spur development?
I think that my personal opinion is yes, tax credits are the way to develop affordable housing right now. It's not coming from, the Department of Housing and Urban Development. It's not coming from them. It's got to come from low-income housing tax credits.
Okay. All right. And Senator Sweeney, are you still with us, sir?
This is
Yeah.
Patricia.
Yes.
That will spur 4,000 units in the state of New Jersey for low-income tax credits. That one bill, we need to get behind. It passed the United States Congress. We have to make sure this gets passed. We have to do something about the supply of affordable housing in the country, not only New Jersey, but the entire country.
All right.
And this is one way to do it.
All right.
Sorry.
Thank you. Senator, what was the funding source for the Rowan housing project?
It was through HUD. We got credits through HUD and through our housing, through our housing authority also. It was a partnership.
Okay, very good. Thank you. The issue is that there's always a lot of little fires that need attention, and we tend to them all as we get to them. And in the end, we've accomplished a little something here and a little something there, and it's always something to be proud of. We've got issues here in Cape May County that are unique to us. You had issues there at Rowan that stand out as a wonderful guide mark for other people to look at. We certainly have a lot of work to do here in Cape May County. We have problems here where people that work in this county can't afford to live in the county. We have issues where seniors can no longer afford to live in their homes, and they're living in cars. We just have so many issues that are unique to us, and we're overrun with houses that are so expensive that folks that have lived here for decades just can't afford to live here anymore. The housing issue is just multifaceted here, that we just have so many of these problems to deal with. And this is something that is going to take a lot of effort, a lot of work. But we do appreciate the input from all of our guests this evening. In closing, I would like to thank all of our wonderful presenters this evening. Senator Sweeney, Director Jackie Jones, Director Yvonne Sullivan, Director Tyler Keene. Your individual knowledge and expertise have enlightened us all tonight while we're raising the bar. And we'd like to thank you for that. And it's been wonderful to have you all here. And we thank you for that. Like to thank thank Ken Merson and Charlie Lawrence, our leadership committee research team. Your work is both appreciated and invaluable. Thanks as always to our wonderful behind the scenes technical crew, Jeff Trout and Marie Bliston. We could not do this without you, superb as always. And thanks to Bob. Thanks to the Cape May County Democratic Leadership Committee for your work on these Zoom presentations. We continue to strive to bring important information to the citizens of Cape May County. Thank you to our Cape May County Democratic Chair, Marie Bliston, for your leadership and guidance. And finally, thank you to all who took time from your busy schedules to join us tonight. You make this both successful and worthwhile. This topic is both critical and far-reaching. It raises many issues, some of which we have only begun to touch on tonight. We'll be scheduling a second Zoom presentation, a follow-up to tonight's presentation in the coming weeks. There'll be details that will follow. Please keep a check at www.cmcdems.com for upcoming details and registration information. Until then, good night from Cape May County. Thank you very much.